And there we are. We do apologise about that. Some technical difficulties with StreamYard, but we are back. Fingers crossed, no more technical hiccups along the way. But we will carry on the discussion that we were having. I believe we were talking about Donny van de Beek and how this could be kind of a starting block for him, because I think we're all in agreement. This is the kind of game he will start in. And if he is going to progress his career at United and become what most people think he should be, which is a regular starter and regularly in the first team, this is the kind of game he needs to be playing in and performing well in. So I'll ask you both the question again. Do you think Donny will start? And also, do you think this is the kind of game where if he doesn't start, it's the kind we're kind of looking at it going, okay, maybe he's not in Ollie's plans as much as we think he is? Mark, you're on mute if you're going first.
You muted my mic. I thought I was unmuting my mic. I tell you what, it's a shit show tonight, and I do apologise. We are here. John, good to have you back, bro. Right. Listen, this I actually think every game that Donny's played this season, he's actually been very good. And I don't think he was particularly bad last season. I just think he was adjusting to the Premier League, adjusting to the physicality. He's put a lot of physicality on over the summer. And I think this would be a good game for him to start in and really sort of keep people quiet to a certain extent. What you were saying earlier about there seems to be a lot of people that seem to support Donny van de Beek more than Manchester United, and I do think that's true. And unfortunately, that's never going to change. And that's just not going to change. But this is a good opportunity for him. And I do think he would take it by the scruff of the neck. And it was only today, I think, Fabrizio came out and said that if he doesn't start to see more regular playing time, then they're going to have to review it in January, which obviously, doesn't really bode well for him and his United career in United and having him. So he's got to, I think I would be shocked if he doesn't start, or at least make a real amount of minutes on the pitch, to be honest. So yeah, I would say that he starts. I would say this is a big opportunity and he has to absolutely take it.
Yeah, Mark's right, really. I think Van der Beek, I don't even know, though, because obviously we spoke about Lingard already and Lingard's mistake that he'll start. Solskjaer said in his press conference, obviously Lingard deserves to start. He's playing fairly well, scoring goals, won us again the other day. So he deserves a chance as well. This is the thing, having a competitive squad, it causes competition, and it's how you react to that competition. We've criticised Martial in the past about it. He could be another person that starts tomorrow on Wednesday. Martial. So having these options is always really good for us, but it's about taking your opportunities. Now, I'll admit, Van der Beek has not had that many opportunities, but he's also, when he has had them, I don't know how much he's taken them. It's very clear. Van der Beek's one of them. He's brilliant off the ball. The space he creates when he hasn't got the ball is so vital to how we're playing at the time when he's on. So I think it would be seriously interesting to play him against West Ham and start him even with Lingard, because it'll create more space for Lingard to run into. It could be something that we could exploit and possibly show West Ham that we could beat them that way. It's Van der Beek has had limited opportunities, and it is a strange one because you saw him at Ajax. He was brilliant. He's shown signs of life at United. Obviously West Ham are a team where he could be used and utilised really well. I do hope he's successful at United, but with the limited opportunities and the talented player that he is, it does make me think maybe he will end up moving on, because let's face it, he's more of a number 10. When you've got Fernandes, he's not going to be dropping Fernandes for Van der Beek, especially with the form that Bruno's in. So I don't want to say he's done, but let's just see if he can grasp his opportunity when he gets to it.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that. And I've kind of been critical of Donny because I don't think he's taken his opportunities when he's been given them, albeit very limited, as we've all said. He's only been in for 1 or 2 games and he's back out of the team and he's back in again. But I think our second string squad is good enough for Donny to be playing in. Obviously, the criticism in the past has been that he's not had the quality around him when he has played. So that's why he's not necessarily linked up well. But it kind of leads us on to a question on the kind of before we had the technical issues there, we got asked a very good question, which we'll go through this one. What would you consider to be our best second string team? Best 11, not picking any players from yesterday's game against West Ham. So we'll each pick our team then. I actually don't know who I'm going to pick, to be honest. So I'm going to be going through this as we go through it. So we'll start off with goalkeeper then. I think we're all probably going to be in agreement as to who our best second keeper is when they're fit. So I don't think there's any surprise.
League run. Yeah.
I'm just going to come out and say Henderson. I don't know about you two.
I mean, at the minute, in current form with De Gea, it unfortunately is Henderson. It's no detriment to him, but De Gea is in the form of his life at the moment, and Henderson's just going to have to kind of deal with that. And if De Gea does start dropping or declining, Henderson will get his opportunity again, I'm sure.
Yeah, I agree with that. So back four then. I think this is where some of us might slightly disagree. I think the fullbacks hit themselves, but the two centre backs I think could be an interesting one. So Mark, you can't pick anyone that played yesterday. Who would make your back four out of our second 11?
Did any centre backs come on?
We'll do the game where they were starting. If they started, you can't pick.
Okay, fine. So I would have a fit Bailly and Lindelof. And that's purely on the basis that actually they're both very good defenders. Bailly complements Maguire / Lindelof, as Varaya complements Maguire / Lindelof. So for me, it would have to be Bailly and Lindelof for absolute certainty.
Look, because of the game we're playing and we can't actually pick anyone that started yesterday, and I'd be curious to see what people's comments are. You play along with us. I personally still think Maguire will start, but because we're not allowed, I'll say Lindelof and Jones. I genuinely think we'll see Phil Jones tomorrow night. I really, really do. And the two fullbacks, like you say, Connor, they pick themselves. It'll be Delo and Tellez, won't it?
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think in this scenario, in the kind of game that we're playing, like you said, I agree. I think Maguire or Varane, one of them will play on Wednesday night. But in this scenario, we can't pick anyone from Sunday. I'm with you. I wouldn't be surprised. I think there's a reason Ollie's talking about Jones. There's a reason he's come back playing in 23 games rather than just being, going on the bench and just, getting some training here and there. I think there's a reason for that, and I think he probably will be involved in these types of games. So, yeah, I think it's.
I think you're right, though. I mean, he's definitely doing the under 23 games to get his match fitness back. Look, he's not played a game of football for 18 months. So he clearly needs a few games back in the under-23s to get his 90 minutes and get his fitness back. The fact that he started doing interviews, the fact that Ollie's starting to speak about him, he is clearly coming back. And the thing is, we know now that Jones is not going to be our starting centre-back for the next couple of years. But the problem is, to get him and advertise him in the market, we need to play him in some stage. We can't just go, someone needs to sign him. Well, we've been injured. Who's going to take the risk? If we can get him a few run of games, give him a little bit of time, show that he's still got something in there, we're sort of putting him in the market now. And with him still having 2-3 years left on his contract, if we want to get rid, then that's what we've got to do. So, and a second, third round cup tie of the Carabao Cup in a low priority cup is the perfect opportunity to do that.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think people miss that sometimes and expect players just to be sold when they're not playing. You do need to put them in the shop window, so to speak, and give them minutes. Otherwise, clubs are not necessarily going to be interested in those types of players. So, what kind of formation are we picking here? I think we stick to what United play: 4-2-3-1, 4-3-3. So we'll go with the midfield then. Again, Mark, go to you first. Can't pick anyone that started yesterday. Who would you go for?
I'm going to go one better than you both, just because of controversy, and say Phil Jones in the 6. I absolutely agree with what you've said in the fact that we need to play him. He is fit. He is doing okay in training, but I wouldn't play him at centre back. And I think it would be an absolute kick in the nuts to Lindelof and Bailly if you don't see those two first, because we're going to be short of midfield options. And I know that we can't start McTominay and Fred. It's going to have to be Phil Jones for me. And I'd leave him alongside Donny van der Beek and allow Donny to roam forward a bit more. And now listen, I don't agree with it necessarily, but now that you've said that, and I don't disagree with what you've said, and we're short of midfield options, I'm going to put him in there alongside Donny and alongside Matic, I think.
We're not short of midfield options, though.
Well, who else? Other than Hannibal, I would have said Hannibal to play further forward.
Matic didn't start yesterday, so he'd play Matic in his actual position of the number 6 instead of a centre-back. I know it's all a joke with Karthik, but I'm not getting on board. I'm refusing. But you could play Matic. Lingard's already been stated to start, and you could play Van der Beek next to Matic.
I totally forgot about Lingard.
Yeah, so there you go. So you've got them 3 there. So there's your midfield. You could either play Lingard in number 10 and then in the number 8 or the second pit or the double pivot with Matic with Van der Beek and Matic. So there's 3 midfielders. We don't even need to be looking at Phil Jones in midfield. So I am.
We don't need to be looking at Phil Jones for centre back.
I know, but we do. Yeah, but we do though. Really, he's a centre back, and if we want to get rid of him, we need him to play. We need to show that he can get match fit again, and we need to show that there's still some kind of talent in there, so somebody will take the risk on him. Because he's got big wages as well, so we'll be paying quite a significant chunk of that, I'm sure. So we need to play him, and when better than a very early round of the Carabao Cup.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I'm also not getting on board with this Phil Jones in the 6 nonsense as well. Sorry, Karthik, if you are watching this back, but I'm not getting on board with it either. So I agree with Callum. I think Matic and Donny in this scenario, in the kind of the rules that we've got in this little game here, I think, Lingard's already been stated to start, so it'd be Lingard and Matic and Donny probably behind, which leaves the front 3 then. And I think, again, this is probably the one area where I think it kind of speaks for itself. And it's weird that we're going to say potentially Sancho as a second, in our second string squad. And that's only because of the rules we've got here that he didn't play yesterday, or didn't start yesterday, I should say. So, Mark, who would make up your front 3?
I would have probably put Lingard more in the centre of the pitch. Mata in the centre of the pitch, perhaps. And if I can't have Jones, I was just playing. And therefore, I'd have Lingard top left, Martial number 9, Sancho on the right.
Yeah, I mean, if we're going by that, I mean, you could probably put. I'd probably put Lingard on the right, to be honest. Cavani through the middle, and I think we will see one of the younger players tomorrow. I don't know who. Per se, but I'd probably go with how great he was for us in pre-season and how much we all sort of said he destined for stardom. We've not really spoke about him since. I think Alanga will be in the squad tomorrow. So I think you'll probably see Alanga play. Whether he'll start, I don't know. I think that left side will either be Anthony Alanga or Anthony Martial. One of those two. And that's not even in our little game that we've made up for the viewers. I think that will be what will happen. Genuinely, I think you'll see Cavani and Martial tomorrow night. Whether Martial will start, I don't know.
Yeah, I'd agree with that, actually. And not even somebody that came to mind was Alanga, because I kind of in my head I thought Martial, Cavani, Sancho. It kind of speaks for itself, that front 3. But Alanga, it's another option, and I think. To me, if Alanga does start tomorrow and Martial doesn't, and say it's Alanga, Cavani, I keep saying tomorrow, Wednesday. If it's Alanga, Cavani, and Sancho, Martial must be thinking there, where am I going to fit into this? Because if a youngster is getting in ahead of him as well, I think then you are looking at it as Martial, you'd be looking at it going, well, where am I going to get games then? Because Rashford's looking like he's going to be back in a few weeks' time as well. When Sancho starts hitting form, Pogba looks better on the left. We've got so many options now. So
yeah, I mean the thing is, I for some reason in this list of the squad I've got up, Matta's listed as an attacker, more of a winger. I'd probably swap him and Lingard. I think you'd probably be putting Matta in the number 10 or that roaming playmaker kind of role. Because he obviously he's getting on, but he can still control the game, and these are always the kinds of games you see Juan Mata in. They're always the early stages of the FA Cup or the early stages of the Carabao Cup. So I think Mata will start tomorrow and Lingard will start over on the right. So we'll definitely, I just, we're speculating and things, but I think Solskjaer will think like that. He really will. I think he's definitely gonna make some changes. He's not gonna play his first string 11. I don't think. He'll still play a strong team because he'll still want to win. But we will see the likes of Mata and Lingard and Van der Beek, and Lindelof will probably play, to be honest. But you know, this it's the perfect kind of game for Mata. You know, and I personally think he'll retire at the end of the season or head off to America. So these are the kind of games where you kind of got to appreciate what you've got still, I guess.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And I'd actually quite like to see Juan Mata in. I don't want to see him out wide because it's just horrible.
He seemed to be put there, didn't he, on a whim because we didn't have a right winger for so many years. And we just sort of made do with him there. But because United's transfer policy and recruitment for so long was so terrible, we just made do with him there. It was like when we started saying, we can put Diogo Dalot on the right wing. And it's like, no, he's a right back. Like, get a right winger, for fuck's sake.
I think Mata did play, although he was primarily a number 10 for Chelsea, he did interchange with those inside forward roles. So I think that's probably Chelsea's fault. And I think by the time we got him, he lost a couple of yards of pace. So he's not so effective there and would be more beneficial in the number 10.
No, I think you're right.
Keep getting your comments in, guys. I'm loving all these team selections that we're seeing here. John's coming with this one. There's a few shouts that Cavani might not be ready for Wednesday. I haven't seen that myself personally. I think he is going to be in the squad. Certainly in the squad. I think he will probably be starting as well.
Yeah, I think he will start personally, but if he doesn't, it'll be guaranteed Martial will play on the 9, I think.
There's another one here, Heaton over Henderson. To be fair, we don't know the extent of when Henderson's going to be back yet, so it might actually be Heaton on Wednesday night. I think that's we said before, that back four probably picks itself. Maybe Jones in there over Bailly, but yeah, Matic, Van der Beek, Lingard. I'd actually really like to see that front three as well, actually. The only reason I don't think Greenwood will be in there is because we play Saturday, and I think on the form that Greenwood's on, people could say he's not been playing well, you know, because he hasn't been scoring, but he has been playing well, and you cannot take him out of that team at the moment. There was a comment earlier. There it is from Ugly Bet. Even if he is, I don't think he is. Even if he is, I wouldn't even take the risk. It's not even worth including him in the squad. I wouldn't say until after the international break.
Mark, just with the injuries, because I keep seeing this comment about Cavani saying he's back in training tomorrow. Where's he been? Because he has played this season, and I didn't even know he was injured or if he was away. So has he gone away from the squad for some reason? Because I was under the impression he's already played this season. He's played a few minutes of football, so he is. I was under the impression he was available.
Yeah, I think obviously he was in isolation for a bit, played a few minutes of football, isn't quite up to match fitness. Here it says, and this was 4 days ago now, Edison hopefully will start training with us after the week, and hopefully maybe Monday. Maybe he'll be involved on Wednesday. So there's a bit of doubts, 50% chance of playing. So I don't know the true extent to it. I know that he was isolating. I know he had a few minutes. Perhaps he's just not had the match, the enough minutes to make him match fit. But yeah, 50% chance of playing, and he could be involved on Wednesday.
Yeah, I mean, I've just seen that he's got a knock as well, possibly. The thing is Henderson as well. I mean, he's played a couple of games in the under-23s as well with Phil Jones. As a goalkeeper, I think that's probably all he needs. I'd love to see Tom Heaton. I think he's a very underrated goalkeeper. But, I think he was brought in to sort of shift Lee Grant into a coaching role. And Henderson will probably get his minutes tomorrow on Wednesday, I think. It would be nice to see Heaton have a game for United again, though. Yeah,
I'd agree with that. And I think, the more I think about it, with the fixtures coming up, how you just mentioned it, we're at kick-off Saturday. We've got if we didn't potentially lose that game to Young Boys, that Villarreal game, every game's important, but it's even more important now that we win next week in the Champions League. And then obviously we've got a game against Everton before the international. So the more I think about it, the more I can see Ollie rotating a little bit more than maybe some fans are thinking Wednesday, just because of the fixtures we've got coming up. Right, we'll move away from our kind of team selection and just briefly talk about West Ham. It's likely that, Antonio's suspension obviously was only for that one match, which was yesterday. Are we expected to see a different West Ham on Wednesday night? Or will we see same old, kind of United, what we saw yesterday, dominated most of the game, but with Antonio potentially back, do you think he will be back involved? And will we see a different West Ham?
I listen. We spoke about it and touched upon it earlier. I don't think West Ham necessarily have the luxury that we do now with the amount of players, and I think that if Antonio is available, Antonio starts, which could be more of a problem for us. I don't think we'll see as many. I personally don't think we'll see as many changes from their side of things. I think they'll want to keep going with the momentum they did have. They played relatively well against us, were unlucky in the end, and we came out on top. I can't imagine Noble will start, but I think if someone like Antonio is available, he will start. But then that's a disservice to everyone else, because I thought there was, Jared Bowen came in, did an excellent job. You got Yarmolenko, he tends to play up top, which he didn't start with, and Ben Rama obviously got the goal, and he's dangerous. So I don't see as many changes. I really don't.
Yeah, I don't think they'll make that many changes. They definitely will make a couple, though, because obviously I think they'll have one eye on the league as well. I think, like I say, West Ham will look at Europe and even the Europa League that they're in this season. Is it the Europa League they're in, or the Conference League?
Yeah, Europa League.
Yeah, so I think they'll have one eye on that as well, to be honest. So they definitely will rest a couple of players. I don't think the tactics will change. I think they'll still counter-attack us. The problem that we've got is we really need to sort of concentrate and not dive into any tackles. We've really struggled on the attacking transition of other teams this year. We've struggled to deal with counter-attacks. We've dove in, we've done silly decisions. West Ham are one of the best teams in the league this season for counter-attacking as well. I think they've scored 2 goals from it. So we really need to just keep our eye on that. We need to, we made that game up and stuff, but I think he'll stay with a double pivot. I think he'll still play 2 sort of more defensively minded midfielders if he can, just to sort it, because he'll be aware of that threat from West Ham, in particularly, obviously, because it happened quite a few times on Sunday. We've got that luxury of having a little bit of a better understanding of the way West Ham play, because David Moyes won't change his tactics. It's with respect to it, it's David Moyes. He's not going to start changing just because they missed a penalty in the 94th minute. I disagree, Mark. I think Noble, genuinely, joking aside, will start. I genuinely think he will start. So he'll be one of the changes, I think. Obviously, he's retiring at the end of the season as well, isn't he? So, again, these will be the kind of games that they will use Mark Noble for, I think. So, it'll be another feisty game, I think. And it'll be good to get some minutes out of some of the lads. And, of course, we hope we win. But, I think, I said it before, the main thing we need to remember is not to overreact, not to worry, and, put the focus on Saturday, really.
I think that's the key thing. I think, yes, we all want to win on Wednesday. Yes, we'd like to see a trophy, but it is only the Carabao Cup. It's not the end of the world should we lose. I think it's more in the manner that if we're not going to lose anyway, we're going to beat them. But say the worst does happen, I think it's the manner. I think that people will be looking at more than, especially because of how we play now. It's going to be different, and I agree with you. I'm just looking at their fixtures now. So West Ham have got Leeds away at the weekend, also on Saturday as well. That's going to be a physical game. We know how Leeds play in kind of high tempo, so they're not going to be risking too many of their top players, I don't think. I'm just looking at this comment here from Shiv. Thanks for your comment. I'm just saying about West Ham likely go for the win. They'll be looking for revenge, which will play into our hands. I don't know whether to agree or disagree. I've got to be honest with that, because I think, like Cal said, I don't think they're necessarily going to be just going for the win just because they missed a penalty yesterday in the 94th minute. If they'll have had this fixture in their head long before that game, whether they won or lost. But I think the Europa League will be a bigger priority to them. But
yeah, I don't really know how much revenge plays into games like that. They won't be happy that they lost, but I don't necessarily think it'll be revenge. I think it'll just be another game of football for both teams where both of them want to win. It might give them a little bit of fight, but I don't think teams see it like that. I think they just go, it might spur them on a bit, but I don't think they'd ever look at it as revenge per se.
I agree. I don't think there's such thing as revenge. However, I do agree in the fact that if they do go at us and play attacking football, I think that they will leave gaps for us to exploit. I do.
they would do hypothetically, but it's not how David Moyes plays football. I think they are like West Ham this season have set up in such a counter-attacking way. Only 2 teams, funnily enough, have done more counter-attacking transitions than West Ham. Funnily enough, Man United are one of them. But, it's the way they set up. It's the way they play. I don't think it will be a game where they completely change the style just because of revenge or whatever. I'm not saying you're saying that, Mark, obviously, but they will stick to what they know. David Moyes will stick to what he knows, and they'll set up to counter-attack us because they know we'll have more of the ball. We'll be looking to try and exploit their defence. We'll be trying to look to get through their defence, and they will try and break us down as we've made a mistake or lost the ball, and they'll try and get the ball forward as quickly as possible because of the pace that they've got in their attacking line. It's just the way the West Ham have played, and it has, to their credit, worked for them in the past 2 seasons, 1.5 seasons, however long it's been. So I think we'll see a similar game to Sunday, just with different players playing, to be honest.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. It's like I said a minute ago. I think they look at these fixtures well in advance. Take each game as it comes, but I don't think Sunday will play that much of an impact. David Moyes is not going to change his whole tactical structure over one game. Just reading some of the comments here. Read that Tellez is not a definite, so Shaw might have to start. Potentially, I can't see Dallo on the left. I can see Shaw starting anyway.
We did use him a couple of times on the left, didn't we? I think when Mourinho was talking about. He didn't do a terrible job, but he certainly didn't do a great job either. I think we had to make do because of injuries and how Jose thought Luke Shaw was a reincarnation of Adolf Hitler for some reason. So, I don't think we should be going with Dallo on the left, but if it needs be, I don't think it does need, but if it needs be, it could happen given injuries and things like that. But
it's not the option I'd be going with because then you're leaving. That means Wan-Bissaka would probably have to start on the right-hand side, which is, I think, if anyone potentially needs to be pulled out, it's probably Wan-Bissaka. But there we are.
Well, I personally thought Wan-Bissaka would have been pulled out Sunday for Dalot, but he stuck with him, which turned out to be a good thing, obviously. But I don't think anyone would have been surprised if Wan-Bissaka was pulled out on Sunday.
I'd agree with that. Shiv, you comment here about one thing I'm not having is another semi-final defeat to Man City in the Carabao Cup. You don't have to worry about that because they're going to lose tomorrow night against Wickham, so you don't need to worry about us losing to them in the semi-final. It's not going to happen.
Oh, Pep can piss off and all.
Have you, just on that quickly, I'm assuming you've all seen his comments about I've got to play the young players tomorrow.
Utterly ridiculous. The guy is. Do you know what? I've genuinely got the theory that he's starting to make these little comments because I think he's had enough a little bit. I think he's starting to crack up a little bit, and I think he's gearing for his exit at the end of the season. I genuinely think we'll see Pochettino. I said this on a video the other night. Pochettino will be sacked from PSG at the end of the season, and Pep will go PSG, manage Messi, and go win a load of trophies in France, and then everyone will go he's the best manager ever when he isn't.
Yeah, it's just crazy, isn't it? I've got to use, I can't remember his exact quote or something like that, but I've got to play the younger players. Well, you've got Wickham at home. You've got an easy draw. You've probably got the easiest draw out of all of the Premier League sides. So I agree with Carl. I think he's just losing the plot a little bit. There's a couple of shouts for Fernandes at left back. Obviously, we're not talking about Bruno. If anyone watches the under-23s, Alvaro Fernandes, I've been lucky enough to see the under-23s a couple of times this season. He is unbelievable. Now, you don't want to put too much hype on players because the difference, as Stu will tell you, big time, the difference between the 23s and first team is massive. There is a big gap in just everything. But he's definitely an option. Definitely watch out for him for the future. He's not going to be involved on Wednesday, but he's definitely one to watch out for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I said this before though, didn't I? I think there'll be a few youngsters in the squad tomorrow. I wouldn't be surprised if Shorter is back in the squad. We'll start seeing the younger players. I think we'll probably, depending on the result, around 60 minutes, I think he'll start bringing a couple of them on. Obviously, it goes straight to penalties as well if it's a draw at the end. So the experience it'd give them to play in a game like that, a senior game of football against a tough, solid, physical West Ham team, it'd show them. It'd show the young players, wow, it is different. Because like you said then, Connor, as great as he probably looked in the under-23s, and I don't doubt his ability and his talent, because didn't we get him from Real Madrid as well as a young player? Some of these players do need to, go out on loan and play for the first team just to see the difference in under-23 football to senior football.
Yeah, 100%. And I agree with you, actually. I think we'll see a couple of... I think there'll be probably 2 or 3. We might see, like I said, Alanga involved in the matchday squad. Shuratere, potentially, maybe Hannibal, but that'd be a push. I don't think we'll see that many because we've got enough senior players, like we've mentioned already. With Lingard's already been said he's going to start. With Mata, Matic, Donny, there's Phil Jones, for example. There's so many players in there that take up the squad numbers, unfortunately. So, in answer to your question, I don't think we'll be seeing Hannibal on Wednesday.
I'd love to know when we're going to see him, though, because he's a lot of hype. He's meant to be a very talented player, but I don't know if he's been unlucky with injuries, I think. But
he's played, from what I've seen, the 3 matches I've seen in the 23s, he's absolutely, is it past 10 o'clock? It is. He's absolutely taken the piss out of people in that league. He's in that bracket now where he's too good for the 23s. And he needs probably that loan move or getting involved in the matchday score because he is too good for the under-23s now. But he's just finding that balance because you don't want to put all the hype on him and go, right, get into the first team now and, be the next thing. I think he probably could do with a loan move out, but definitely he's absolutely taking the piss out of that.
Yeah, I'm going to disagree, actually. I could see him on Wednesday. And I'm going to agree with you on the point that we don't want to talk about our youngsters too much, but he is an absolute animal. And I've seen him on numerous occasions, technically brilliant. He's always, his intelligence is unbelievable. He's 2 or 3 passes ahead, which you should be. And I think he's too good for the under-23s. And he's been training. I've seen a few of the training videos, and obviously you have to take those with a pinch of salt sometimes. But he's running rings around some of the first team players. So he's very, very exciting. And I wouldn't be surprised. You can kind of really, even though we should win this, you can take this as just as important as a game against Wolves last season where he made an appearance. I think he could be in contention as well.
I think if this was maybe an easier opposition, despite the rotation we expect West Ham to face, I think maybe we will have. If we say we had City's easy draw and had Wickham maybe at home or somebody like that, then we might have seen him kind of involved. I just think the quality of his opposition, although I think he can do a good job in there, I just don't think we'll see him just yet. But I wouldn't be surprised at all to see him feature for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I am looking forward to seeing him in senior football, though. He's an exciting player.
Yeah, 100%. I think him and Fernandes definitely ones to watch out for coming out of the 23s right now. There's still quite a lot of you watching, so thanks for joining us over on this video as well. Apologies for the technical difficulties, as we said earlier. Make sure you're liking the video and subscribing to the YouTube channel. So I'll come to each of you then. Final question from myself. Score prediction and first goal scorer. Mark, I'll go to you first now.
I'm going 3-2. And I really don't know who's going to start, but I think if Martial starts, I'm going to say him.
Yeah, go on. I'll say 2-1 and Mata to score first.
Oh,
with a free kick.
Both interesting shots, and both of you thinking that we're going to concede.
I think with the Lindelof and a possible different partner, if that was to happen, maybe not playing enough together might cost us slightly. But I still think Maguire will play. Maguire and Lindelof are more than capable of keeping a clean sheet. But as fans, we speculate who will start, and we're probably always going to be wrong. But if we do see a centre back partnership that isn't a regular one, I do think West Ham have got enough quality to probably score a goal against us.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. There's a lot of shouts here. So Reese is there saying 3-2 United, Lingard first. Brown Knight has said 3-0 with Lingard first. Shiv 2-0, Lingard first. John Commode 4-1, Lingard first goal scorer. So there's a lot of shouts for Jesse as first goal scorer. And unfortunately, he's not going to be mine. I think I'm going to say 3-1 as well. I'm going to go with Jaden Sancho, actually, as first goal scorer. I think this is going to be one of those games where we're going to see the best out of him, should he start. Obviously, we don't know. Don't know who's going to be in there, but I think he probably will start with the form that Greenwood's in. Ronaldo, obviously, is probably going to be taken out of the side. There's just other options there. So,
if it was weird, because it's one of them weird ones, I genuinely think if it was United playing Wickham Wanderers tomorrow, Ronaldo would be dying to start just to go and stick 6 goals past them. Do you know what I mean? Just to make his season tally so much bigger. You know, he's the type of player, he just wants as many goals as possible, and that would be the perfect opportunity for him. But obviously, he'll probably want to start tomorrow, Wednesday, when we play West Ham. But I do genuinely think he will be one of the first ones to be taken out, to be honest.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Yes, Brown Knight, it was a fluke, but you know they did have chances in that game, and I think we've kind of said throughout the show as they're not, they'll come at us at some point in the game, and with a rotated side that we might put out, you know, these players not necessarily are going to have played together before, so you're going to expect some shaky moments in a game like this. It's a cup game. It's going to be different, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, fluke's probably the wrong word, but the thing is, they also should have had 2 penalties, but so should we. You know, it's if buts and maybes in football. So, you know, who's to say if that didn't go in, they wouldn't have scored later on in the game. You know, you never know with football, do you? So, fluke's probably the wrong word. I know it was fortunate, but you know, there's not many flukes in football.
Yeah, definitely. Right, I'm going to wrap it up there. Thank you, everyone, for coming across. And like I said, I know we had the technical difficulties earlier. Thank you all for joining us on this stream as well as the one before where we had Natalie on as well. So make sure you go and check out both of those. Thank you to Mark and Callum. Make sure you're following these two as well. Their ats are there, wherever they are, on the bios there. I don't think we've got a show tomorrow, but we do have a match reaction with Mark on Wednesday. We've then got the Villa preview on Thursday. Timeline Talk is back on Friday. We've got the Villa reaction on Saturday, and then Uncut we're back on Sunday. So plenty of content for you to enjoy and look out for.
Action packed.
Indeed, and you get to see Mark and Callum throughout the rest of the week as well. If you're not going to come back for anything else, you've got these
back
to come
for
back
us.
to.
Exactly.
So thank you for that.
Enjoy. Thanks, guys.
Thanks for all your comments. Make sure you like and subscribe, and we shall see you in the next video.